Yo, what's up, guys? We're going to take a look at AMC. So, in the past here, I made a lot of videos on AMC back in the day when we were down around this price action here, and I was seeing this monster pattern here, and I was getting pretty sketched out down in this range here, and I was talking about how, like, sometime, I forget what the date was I was talking about, and it might have even been, no, it was somewhere down in the $5 range, so it was probably over. Oh yeah, okay. So I was making a video on it way down here. So we had this huge blow off top, and then I was talking about somewhere on February 10th, we could see if this thing wasn't going to crash all the way back down here into the low range here, that if we wanted to play it, we could play it something. And I don't think I had this whole pattern drawn out, but I had it drawn. I could always look back at the video to check my thoughts that I had, but pretty sure I was pretty bearish, but I was also getting a little nervous. But I said, if we wanted to hold on tight, we could expect that maybe this would end up being some kind of bottom. It was hard to say, but if we ended up getting some kind of bounce off of that trend line, we could see a pretty good size movement up to about $13 to $15, and that would be at the best case scenario. Now, of course, we had a lot more price action than that. I think we ended up hitting around here, coming back down, and then I don't think I charted it too much, and if I did, I might have been charting this breakout and not even looking at this overall large pattern, but I was looking at this descending triangle with a target roughly around that $15 range, maybe $12 range. But my biggest thing that I saw on the chart, either way, it's been a long time since I charted AMC, and I'm not going to lie to you, I didn't get in on this huge run. Like, I got in, but I sold pretty early, and then I re-entered again later. But, one thing that I was really pushing around this zone here was that we wanted to close above this $11 range. Now, whether I made the video on it or if I was just posting in my trading view a while back, either way, I remember saying, and I knew for a fact because of this Ichimoku cloud resistance here on the daily, that if we closed above this $11 range, that we could hold on tight for a big move. Now, I was not expecting that kind of move. I was expecting at the best coming up to $20, maybe $22, something like that. Now, once we broke this $20 range, I got in at 11, and I don't remember where I sold, but I probably sold somewhere around $16. Just for a small swing. There was no targets for me telling me at the time, because I don't think I, like 90% sure, I didn't see this big symmetrical triangle. I was just seeing a big uptrending support, but I didn't draw this downtrending line to show this. But now that we see it, we can see exactly why this entry that I did was so fucking phenomenal. And this Ichimoku cloud is so great. That's why I use the Ichimoku cloud. And just to get into that real quick, if you are interested in the Ichimoku cloud, these are the settings that I'm using. This is based off one of my favorite analysts in the crypto trading world, and he uses 20, 60, 120, 30. So I actually changed my settings on it. So, and even with me changing the settings, it still showed the same as the original one, but it is a lot different, and I actually like it better with those settings. So basically, when we hit this, whatever we hit, maybe 15, 16, whatever, I might have sold some here. I don't really know where I sold it, but I don't even care. That's not what this video is about. So we had this huge run up here, and then we started making this pattern here, which I did start to talk about later on my trading view. I stopped making as many videos, whether or not I had it drawn like this, or if I had it drawn like this, but I was actually looking at this thing breaking down, and a lot of people were getting really, really hyped up here, and and I was like kind of thinking, like, if we could break out of this thing, it's very possible we could shoot up higher. But I was talking to my buddies and stuff, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure this thing's going to break down. It's going to break down. And I didn't short it or anything, because who's shorting AMC? That's sketchy. Well, you can make a lot of money, but it's definitely scary. So anyway, so we fell down here. So after we chopped around for a while, then I started making more videos here. And I was talking about this on my trading view a lot. If anyone's not looking at my trading view, it's just look up Eric Taylor. I don't know, maybe you can find me in an AMC post or something. Probably that's where you'll find me if you search AMC. And I was talking about this here, and I was talking about coming down to the low 30s, and potentially buying in the low 30s. And that was, for me, wasn't based off of that pattern though. I was actually charting this thing, and I was looking at, I think I was looking at this like a potential falling wedge like this. And this was my original idea here, was we had this falling wedge. We could actually, I had it drawn like this here. So my original thought was that since we tapped wicks here, that we were going to potentially come down here to this $26, $27 range, tap here, and then have a beautiful break. Now, of course, we ended up double bottoming down here. So I ended up loading up in this $30 range here, and then I ended up spotting this pattern here, which is an ascending triangle, and it's ascending because it has the ascending support and then a flat top. That's what you want. You want the flat top. That usually shows the buyers are in control, hence why they break to the upside 70% of the time. So, then we had this nice, beautiful breakout. And upon this breakout here, I didn't get this perfect, I saw it, I charted it, but I didn't get the perfect entry. One of my buddies did get this perfect entry here because he was watching this as well with me, and he ended up getting in a lot sooner than me. I got in around like $44, and then I ended up selling it up at $48.31, I believe. Or I think I sold some because I didn't originally have this $48.31, but I sold some. I'd probably have to look at a smaller time frame to see. I think I sold some at $37.60 something, and then we tapped $48.31. We came back down, and then we ended up coming back up, hitting that same price action. So I ended up selling it here. So we came back down to this lower support. We tapped here. We came up. We hit that same $48.31. That's when I really realized that that level was going to be huge. And then we came back down, and we started tapping this support here, which was also, look on the 4-hour, Ichimoku cloud here. And we're back testing it. We did back test it. And around this time, I started saying, because I'll even delete some of this stuff here because it might make us be able to find this next entry point pretty quickly. So, at the time, say that we didn't see any of this price action here, and we just saw this. Now, a lot of people were, at first I was originally thinking we would come back down, we would back test this 38.63. We ended up hitting 39.17 or something, 39.40. And once we made this right here, I was like, oh shit, this could be something right here starting. So I started drawing this trend line here around like this point. And, I was talking about how if this was to play out here, we could be building an ascending triangle of some sort. Now, we did have a wick below it, but we never closed a candle body below. So, honestly, even if I was to move this down here, it wouldn't line up with what we have. But if we leave this on this first wick that I originally drew it off of, look at how perfectly our next third confirmation touch came down to. Perfectly on that trend line, 45.29. So, at that point, we knew that this area here of this roughly 47.96 to 48.31 was going to be a pretty key area here of resistance. So now we were looking for a breakout around this 44 area here, and we came up and we blasted right through, and then we ended up tapping 49.23-ish. And if you can see here on the 4-hour time frame, we can actually go down to the 1 hour to see how it looks. Now, what you want for a breakout normally, and I don't have volume pulled up, but you want to see big volume come in, and you want to see an hourly candle close. In crypto, you want to see an hourly candle close above. I haven't seen that to be completely true on stocks, but AMC is more like a cryptocurrency when it moves and stuff. So something that we could actually do here, because you can see all those wicks between that wick, that wick, that wick, is something more like this. And what we would see here is that we actually are having an hourly close above this resistance here at 47.95. So this could be a potential breakout right here. Now we still need to clear up in this range here, which is, let's take a look. If we draw this like that, okay, obviously it's going to change the pattern dynamic here, which is going to make it a bearish pattern, which is a rising wedge. So we do want to watch this, because with this wick and this wick, that's only 2 touches here, so it's not a clear confirmation. But if you have a third touch here, a rejection, and then either another touch, the next touch, you probably might have to, we might have to be a little more concerned. But right now we're looking pretty bullish as far as the pattern. Just strictly based off of the Ichimoku cloud, we're holding this as support on all time frames. So anyway, what we want to watch here, it looks like, is roughly this 49.70 level. But I do like this, and I almost feel like we could, depending on how this market opens up here and reacts, we could actually make a play off of this with a stop loss, probably below all of this. Whoops, I did not mean to draw all over the screen. Hold on a second. What we could do is we could, let's see, I think I have something to set up here, because this is pretty cool to do. I just don't know where it is. Let's see, we have, sorry guys, just give me a second. Oh, right here, long position, that's what I wanted to do. So what we could do is, say we entered here around this, depending on how this price action, oh, it's already up here at the 49.30 pre-market. So what we could do is we can either take a look and watch this area here of 49.80 and see if we can break through this area, since we kind of, if we're not in this already, which, you know, I got stopped out on this original play here, and then I ended up buying some of this price action here. So I have an average roughly around 47.50. I didn't buy many, but I did start buying some here in this anticipation, which, even though it's not really a good thing to do in anticipation, I was pretty confident here that this is looking good enough that I can make a trade on. So, you know, what we could do is we could probably put a stop loss. You can do it two ways. You can put a stop loss around this 47, depending on where you enter, or you can put a stop loss below this pattern, depending on your risk tolerant. For me, if I was making this trade, I would, I hate when it does that. So many things here, but actually I got an idea. Black, whoops, make that black, make my lettering black, and then we don't have to look at that. And then, sorry, I should not do this on video, but here I am, boring you guys. Oops, shit, why is it doing that? Yeah, that's pretty ugly. Okay, I don't really know, guys. I'll have to screw with that another time. But, so this was gonna look cool, but, so basically what we can do is we can get in this trade, and we can ride it up here to about 56.70, 56. You know, I have this support line here, resistance line at 57.39, so it could hit that. I also have a resistance line at 60.64. We can look at the targeted move and see, and if this does play out as I'm expecting here, this should be a pretty solid, I'm going to get rid of this because it's kind of useless. I'll have to screw around with those settings on it. But we can see here our targeted move is roughly 56.56, so we can probably take some profits around the $56 mark here if we do get this breakout here. I kind of want to look at some volume here real quick, so let me just see volume. So I mean, you know, the volume's okay, but it's really not that good. That's pretty surprising that we have that low volume here. I mean, it's okay. So I guess it's enough. 45 minutes, a little bit better. But anyway, so basically, we're just going to want to keep an eye on this main level here of 47.86, and we're going to want to keep an eye on this roughly $50 range here up here, because, you know, if we break 50, I think it'll be pretty easy, unless we just tap 50 and that's it. But I think if we can tap 50, we should have a pretty good, strong momentum run up here. So that's what I'm kind of looking at for AMC today. I do want to look into, just for the hell of it, I do want to look at, like, say this becomes a rising wedge. You know, usually a rising wedge target ends up coming to the beginning of the move, which would actually bring us back down to 39.58, and then we'd have to reanalyze everything because that would not look good if we just had a breakdown here. But for me, I don't really see that being the case. But the only thing that I could probably say is, let me look at some. Yeah, I mean, all the MACD is rolling to the upside here. We're not seeing any momentum getting lost. If anything, we are gaining momentum here on the MACD. So that's great to see. We can see how much we backtest this old previous resistance of all this Ichimoku cloud here. And it looks like, spaghetti, but it's huge. You could almost make a case here too that we're creating some kind of inverse head and shoulders right here. That's another possibility here. And then this just basically, this right here would be the potential neckline of an inverse head and shoulders. I don't know if anyone can see that visually, but with all this scribble, but this actually makes a lot of sense looking at this right now. Is this wick here could have been 1 touch, this wick here could be 2 touches, this wick here could be 3 touches, which would actually be a pretty clear confirmation of that at least being the upper resistance here. So whether we're in an ascending triangle or we're in some kind of rising wedge of some sort, obviously a rising wedge is bearish. This is where it becomes critical, because this right here can either make you a shit ton of money or lose you a pretty good amount of money. So that's why you want to have your stops in place wherever you decide to have your risk management. If you're doing like a trade like this, obviously if you're in from $2, this doesn't even matter to you. But this, and then at the same time, we also have to remember now is that, AMC on the first run here, was it was easier for AMC to blast off once we cleared that $20 range, because the biggest psychological thing about AMC at the time was that so many people were trapped at that $20 region, and once you broke that $20 range, we completely flew because no one else needed to be a seller. And now you have all of these people trapped here that want to get the fuck out. So that's the thing. And then just for the hell of it, I do want to take a look at the target of this wedge. So just so we know and we're all clear, when I made this post a while back on buying at 30, and I did flip it, I did sell it a little early here, and then I plan to get out. But like I said, I'm buying a little bit more here, and I'm going to try this swing, and I'm expecting it could crash down here, but I'm also optimistic because of my target is $62, and it actually lines up perfectly with this resistance. We can see wick here, wick here, wick here. There's many areas of confluence, which is why I put this nice box range up here, but as well as roughly what's this area here? It's like 51.25, really somewhere around 51.25. I mean, AMC is a little harder to find, like potential bottoms supports, because it's so choppy. But you can chalk it up to like $50 even and draw this across here like that, and you can say that makes a lot of sense. We can chop this up to $50 even here, and it makes a lot of sense that the area that we're chopping around in here is so critical, because look at that. I'm going to make it red because red is resistance. Got that, guys? Red is resistance. All right, so if we look at it like that, okay, although we had some breaks and stuff of the trend here obviously, for the most part, I mean, this kind of key area here between 50 and 51, 52 was like really good support here for the trend. We were bouncing off it a lot. We were never closing candle bodies below. We can look right in here. No candle bodies were getting closed below 50, just wicks. And then when we broke, we actually came up here at one point. We tapped it around this 49.80 really. We broke through. And then we came back down. We didn't quite touch it to back test. We double topped there. We didn't quite back test it. We tapped like $51 really. And then we came back down here. We didn't really close below. We brought back up. And then we came down. We back tested it perfectly at 49.80. Back tested it again. And then we lost with a flat candle body right around $51. So between 49.80 and $51, this is going to be a key area. And if we look here, there's our backtest wick of our resistance. This is a backtest confirmed breakdown, which shows clearly that that was our resistance. So 49.80 is our area to beat, it seems to me. And we want to close a candle body above it. So as we're getting this nice breakout here, if we didn't enter here, that's perfectly fine. The key thing we want to see here is we want to see a nice candle body close above here. And if we can get that in the following candle, we can start taking off. That's good. If we start getting a spinning top, gets a little nervous. If we start getting a red rejection candle, we got to be a little more cautious. Maybe look for this support. You know, it all depends on how this plays out, because like I said, I'm seeing a potential of two patterns here. I am playing this ascending wedge, but I'm also keeping my bullish view away that this could be some kind of rising wedge as well, just in case, because we don't want any surprises here. Oh, well, we thought it was going to break to the upside 70% of the time. Well, you know, sometimes a pattern can look like something and then it actually is something else, because you didn't decide to we decided to disregard this other wick here, which could make a case of something else, you know. So that's kind of where I'm looking at this. But for now, I'm looking at this as a bullish pattern. So, and then the other little bit, you know, sometimes you can get bearish divergence, hidden bearish divergence in a trend, and it's okay because, you're in consolidation and all that. Now this kind of looks like an inverse head and shoulders on the RSI right here, and this could be the right shoulder here. So, you know, it could be that if we popped up above this 68 strength here, we actually could be seeing a breakout. Another thing we could probably do here to confirm our breakout if we wanted to, but I don't know if it's going to look that clear, but you know, this kind of shows us a little bit, even if we just did it like that. This is going to show us like our ascending wedge here on the RSI, and if we can break through this, I mean, it's not that good because I can't really do a clear view. I mean, if we went off of just those two, this would actually confirm our breakdown. This would confirm our breakout here just by doing that. So I mean, it's something to think about. But look at this. Imagine this. This is our symmetrical triangle, it looks like in the RSI. A little fake breakdown, break up, come back test, and rip, right? Maybe. Just something to think about. But obviously, we need to clear this level here of $49.80 to $50 and hold above. So hopefully this is like good information. And then the other thing that we need to be a little bit more cautious about here, as bullish as I am, is if we look at this ascending wedge here, this is our daily candle here. It's a red spinning top right here. Not only that, but that would mean that this potential apex here is like on its last leg. Like, we need to get the hell out of here. We need to break above here today. Like, there's no question about it. This is breaking out one way or the other today. So with that being said, one thing to think about, which on the smaller time frames, they're not giving me anything too negative to you know, go off of that. But if we look here in the daily RSI, even if we get rid of this, what do we see here? We see our daily RSI is potentially rolling a little bit here, and that's kind of a little bit concerning, showing that momentum's a little bit falling off here. And you know, on top of that, and this is just going through both bullish and bearish cases here, but on top of that, our volume is not that impressive. For a big move that's coming, yeah, volume's going to drop off when you have a big move coming. However, obviously there's no real confirmation yet, but we need a big candle spike of volume here to show this. So I mean, even if we said like, okay, that last wick means nothing, we'll go off of that, we'll get this potential uptrending support out of the way, then we could maybe say, you know, I don't know, I kind of like this better. This no, can't do that. There's 4 touches. There's really about 4 touches around this range, so I can't really, with only 2 touches, I mean, unless it's going to do this, right? Unless it's going to end up like this, then we would have more time to screw around in this pattern here. And then we could tap 49.96, get rejected, come back down here. Let's see, is this today? Come back down here, roughly 45. And then, you know what I mean? So, you know, there's 2 different ways to look at it. But the clear thing that we have is what I said, 49.80, we got to get above that. So, you know, I'm just trying to analyze everything and look at it both ways. But obviously we see this is rolling, and this could be a 1, 2, 3, and a drop. 1, 2, 3 top formation, potentially in the RSI. So we have to be cautious, as well as exaggerated bearish divergence completely across. Actually, it might even be a little more like bearish divergence, but that's a very small one. But see, bearish. Well, sorry, I drew that wrong. Is it bearish divergence though? Actually, let me zoom this in. Oh, actually, it's not bearish divergence. I'm sorry, because look, this high is lower than this high. This high is lower than this high. So we're actually good. That's a good thing. I kind of got a little nervous. So anyway, I think this was a long enough video here on AMC. So you know, obviously the worst case scenario for AMC, if we do get rejected at 56, is we end up with a lower high, and then you have your first high, your second high, and a dip. So that's something to keep in mind. I am expecting somewhere in this box here to hit. I don't know if it's going to tap it once, reject. If it's going to tap it, come back to this breakout and continue on its run, or what. Obviously no one knows, but this could be gearing up for a disaster. However, for now we're going to play this pattern, expect to take some profits here, and I'm going to let it chop around and see what happens here. If we break through here and just all of a sudden we start going insane, then I'll re-enter. Until then, I'm going to expect that we might get some rejection, just like we did here. Look at this smiley face. All right, guys, peace.